Hello and welcome back to the British and Irish Eagles podcast. And we have a winning podcast this week. And what a win it was for the Eagles. A win that was needed, a win that was warranted, a win that was demanded by all fans of the Philadelphia Eagles, no matter where you are in the world. And it was a 37-17 demolition of the Cincinnati Bengals down in their own backyard. A win in which every single Eagles player stepped up and played their role. The coaches, the players, even Nick Sirianni. And folks, to top it all off, Phil's Bet of the Week came in. So I don't know about you guys, but I jumped on that. We released it. Phil's Prop of the Week before the game, early in the morning. I came in for around 150 quid. Thank you, Phil. I'm looking forward to seeing what bet you have this week coming up. You will notice that there's no one else on this podcast, folks, and that's because there's been a couple of, it's been hard for everyone to get on the podcast this week. So we've got some absences. We got Tony in France. We got Phil coming down to London at the moment because, ladies and gentlemen, I am currently in a hotel in Heathrow waiting to take 25 Eagles fans from the UK and Ireland to Philly for the week of a lifetime. I'll tell you what our agenda is later on, but before I go any further, I want to get straight into this. I want to get into the good, the bad, and the damn rat sexy of the Eagles versus the Bengals. And let's start with the bad, shall we? There isn't any bad. You could talk about the first quarter scoring, but come on, folks, we still scored on the first drive. You can't ask for any more than that. A touchdown would have been nice. It was a bit of a sluggish start. Okay, Jalen Hurts went 4 from 8 to start, and Barkley wasn't used that often. But I'm not having it, folks. Some people in the WhatsApp group have been trying to say, oh, is Sirianni calling the plays? Is Sirianni the reason why we're starting slow? I don't care. This was a blowout win. This was a win that gave us hope. All right? A win that gave us hope, not just for this team, but for this season. It gave us hope that we can make the playoffs. Damn, it's given me hope that we can make the Super Bowl. This Bengals team is a very, very good team. I know their record doesn't suggest it, but they are a very good team. They've had some close losses against some very good teams, and they are going to beat up on some other teams this year as well. Do not tell me this Bengals team is not good. This was a hope-winning win for the Eagles this year. So, let's get straight into the good of the good, the bad, and the damn right sexy. And my man, number one, whose jersey I'm going to be wearing in Philadelphia this week, the sexiest man on the planet, Jalen Hurts, went 16 of 20 for 236 yards through the air. One magnificent touchdown pass to Devontae Smith, followed by 3 rushing touchdowns, 2 brotherly shoves, and 1 beautifully ran touchdown where he turned the corner and beat the linebacker into the end zone, something we wanted to see him do since he had his injury a couple of years ago. Hurts from 2022 is back, folks. He had a quarterback rating of 132.5. He is averaging in the high 120s quarterback rating over the last 3 weeks. He has 9 touchdowns and no giveaways in the last 3 weeks. That's leading the league. He threw it over the middle. Whisper it. He threw it over the middle. 6 from 6 over the middle. And the ball to Devontae Smith for his touchdown was absolutely majestic. He ended the game 13 of 13 with a quarterback rating in the mid 140s. Jalen Hurts is playing at an elite level. He is back. He is all the way back, and he means business. ladies and gentlemen. And no, there is no Tony Brewerton here to tell me otherwise. There is no Mick McGivern here to tell me otherwise. There's no Phil Mount Stevens to put me on the fence. I'm off the fence. I'm running down the field streaking. I am all over Jalen Hurts and the way he's playing right now. And I am so excited of the hope he gives me for the rest of this season and what this Eagles team can do. All right, there's your first nomination for the damn right sexy, Jalen Hurts. Second best game he's played since he's been a Philadelphia Eagle. The best game I think he's played since the Super Bowl against the Chiefs, where he was Super Bowl MVP elect until, of course, we lost. All right, number 2, Devontae Smith. Slim Reaper was quiet the other week. We didn't see much of him. What was it? 1 target, minus a yard, or minus 0.5 yards. Slim Reaper came to play, and my God, did you see the emotion in it when he grabbed that touchdown in the end zone from that 55 yards through the air? That was a 45-yard touchdown, but it was 55 yards through the air from Jalen Hurts. It was a 22% catch probability for Devontae. Now, that wasn't because Jalen put it in a difficult position. He put it in the perfect position. It's just a hard catch to make over your shoulder, looking behind your shoulder, trying to get down before you get behind the end zone. You got to play. You got to, defensive back clinging onto you. It was a key moment in the game, and Devontae Smith came up clutch as he always does. That wasn't his only play of the game, folks. 6 for 7, 85 yards. Just a super performance for Devontae Smith. For any of you guys out there or girls wondering, is Devontae Smith not got what it takes when AJ isn't around, or does Hurts not trust Devontae as much as he trusts AJ? Yes, he does. This guy is a Pro Bowl caliber wide receiver. On any other team, he's wide receiver 1. He is wide receiver 1B on this Eagles team, and Slim Reaper came to play. That's number 2 for the damn right sexy nominations. AJ Brown is not number 3 for the damn right sexy nominations, but he still went for 84 yards. What other wide receiver in the league goes for 84 yards and you think it's a down week, right? That's because that's what it is. It feels like a down week for AJ Brown. 84 yards, no touchdowns. Come on, AJ, pull your finger at me. Jokes aside, he also had 2 or 3 absolute key third down conversions, 3rd and 16 being the absolute highlight. AJ Brown, still a beast, still racking up 84 yards. But I'm afraid, my friend, the talent is in high demand this week. Competition is tough. You ain't getting a damn right sexy this week, my friend. I'm sorry, AJ, but just not this week. Let me give a shout out to Vic Fangio. Right? He should be, in my opinion, up for a damn right sexy nomination. In fact, I'm going to put him up for a damn right sexy nomination. We're going to have 4 nominations for the damn right sexy this week. Give me Vic Fangio as the damn right sexy this week. Look at what this team did. They kept the Cincinnati Bengals, who've been scoring 30-plus points on nearly every team this league, to under 20 points. In the second half, they didn't get barely any yards through the air. We walked all over them. The defensive individuals stood up. Zach Baun, the new shagger, with 12 tackles, 8 solo tackles, and 1 forced fumble. Nakobe Dean, who's averaged 92 on defense for next-gen stats, 9 tackles, 7 solo tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 1 QB hit, and 1 fumble recovery. Kobe came to play. Ghost wasn't even mentioned that much. Still had 8 tackles, 6 solo tackles, and 1 pass deflected. Isaiah Rodgers. Give me a shout out for Isaiah Rodgers. Darius Slay goes down injured. Isaiah Rodgers comes in, doesn't miss a beat, goes step for step with one of the best, certainly a top 3 wide receiver in the league in Jamar Chase, one of the quickest wide receivers in the league as well. I think he has the most 50-yard plus touchdowns of any active wide receiver in the league. Now Djax is no longer playing. Isaiah Rodgers went step for step with CJ Gardner-Johnson, got his hand up at the right time, and not only tipped the pass, but tipped the pass into the arms of CJ, previous shagger Gardner-Johnson, for an interception. Isaiah, or Zay, as they call you, I know you said you tipped it on purpose to CJ DJ. I'm going to give it to you. I'm not sure, but we'll give it to you on this occasion. The list goes on. This defense was absolutely phenomenal this week. So shout out, please. We haven't even mentioned another guy because we can't, because he's in the damn right sexy nomination and the Luck Loman Play of the Week nomination. Right? The defense balled out. Vic Fangio, you're damn right sexy this week, my friend. You're nominated damn right sexy person. All right. Saquon Barkley. Did you guys know he went for 108 yards on 22 rushing attempts? It didn't seem like that to me either. But he had a huge run, which was really important. And that was for the final touchdown. He broke out in the fourth quarter around the edge, demolished a linebacker in the face, put him on his ass, nearly tiptoed into the end zone. And that set up the tush-push touchdown for Jalen Hurts. And shout out to Jalen Hurts for giving Saquon the ball to spike it afterwards because he knew that Saquon did the damage. In the fourth quarter, Saquon averaged 8 yards per carry, 7 for 57 yards. How valuable is this guy right now, even when he's not ripping off 50-yard runs or touchdowns? Well done, Saquon, but I'm afraid you did not make the damn right sexy nomination this week. Shout out to Cooper motherfucking DeJean. Cooper DeJean, you are a damn right sexy nomination because you had one of the best plays I've seen an Eagle make in the last few years. What an integral moment in the game. The Bengals are going for it on fourth down. They need to keep the momentum to score. Jamar Chase is in motion. He plays tricks. He plays tricks with Cooper DeJean. Cooper DeJean's following all over the place. Doesn't know which way he's going. Jamar breaks out to the right in the flat, gets the ball, and is met hard in the face by Cooper DeJean. He's like a linebacker, Cooper DeJean. He hits so hard. That's basically a takeaway, folks. That's basically a takeaway. That was fourth down. We get the ball back and momentum shifts. It killed the game. That was one of the most important parts of the game. He was the highest rated cornerback in the league against coverage this weekend. Cooper DeJean and Quinion Mitchell, who we haven't even talked about, also locked down Jamar Chase this weekend and continues to lead the league in a lot of defensive back stats. Hugh and Cooper DeJean, oh my God, I am delighted we have you guys for the long term at cornerback. All right, folks, so we got 2 awards to give away. We got the Luck Loman Play of the Week to give away, and we got the Damn Rat Sexy Award to give away. A reminder of your nominations. The sexiest man alive, Jalen Hurts. Second best game he's ever played statistically as an Eagle. Quarterback rating of 132.5. Looks like the quarterback who took us to the Super Bowl 2 years ago and just dominated all over the field and completely outplayed Joe Burrow. Devontae Smith, after a poor showing last week, came back at it with a huge, difficult catch at a really important moment in the game, 6 to 7 for 85 yards. Cooper DeJean, 3 tackles, but a huge tackle for loss on a key fourth down moment, which was the moment of the game. Highest quarterback in the league against coverage this weekend. And Vic Fangio for just an incredible defensive performance. Devontae, I'm sorry, it's not your week, my friend. It was an incredible play, but the fact that Jalen also was the guy who put the ball there, for me, swings it in Jalen's favor. Coop, it was an amazing moment, but I'm saving you for someone else, my friend. You're not the damn right sexy of the week. Vic, it was an incredible performance, but there's only one person who can win damn right sexy this week. Jalen Hurts, congratulations. You win the damn right sexy of the week. You are back. You are back. This team is back, and we have hope again. Well done, my friend. And before we go to the Loch Lomond ad read, to announce Cooper DeJean as the Loch Lomond Play of the Week for your incredible fourth down stop. Congratulations, Coop. Congratulations for the Loch Lomond Play of the Week. All right, Bird Gang. Trying to get through this quickly for you all because it's just me here. We're going to do the quick Loch Lomond ad read, and then when I come back, I'm going to be answering some questions from the fans. Stay tuned. Speak to you in about a minute.
Celebrate victories, rally through challenges, and bond with fellow fans as you toast with a dram of Loch Lomond single malt whisky. From tailgating gatherings to watch parties at home, Loch Lomond whisky becomes an essential companion, enhancing the moments that make football so extraordinary. It's the perfect accompaniment, from the joy of victory to the bittersweet moments of defeat. Loch Lomond offer a wide range of malts, with their flagship perfectly balanced, and signature expressions Inchmoan and Inchmuren to suit any taste palate. Celebrate greatness on and off the field this season with a perfect balance of Loch Lomond whisky and Eagles football. From the first pour to the crowd roar. Fly Eagles fly.
All right, Bird Gang, I'm back. Before I get into the questions from the fans this week, I just want to tell you about this trip we have lined up for this weekend. As I said, currently in Heathrow Airport, and we fly tomorrow morning, early doors, 2025. British and Irish Eagles fans flying to Philadelphia. We land around 2 p.m. local time in Philly before we go to a suite for the Flyers game tomorrow night at 7 o'clock tip-off. Friday morning, this is going to be a surprise to some people listening in. If they listen in before I tell them the surprise, we're going to be at the PHLY studios at Anthony Gargano. We're going to be speaking to him and the PHLY guys about what our plans are this week, so watch out for some of those podcasts. At 1 o'clock till 3 o'clock, we have the LaShawn McCoy Hall of Fame lunch in a suite at the Link. Cannot wait for that. We're going to be joined there by E-Rock. We're going to be joined there by Dave Spadero and some of LaShawn's old teammates. Cannot wait to get a picture opportunity, get to speak to LaShawn, maybe even get something signed. That's going to be incredible. Straight after that, packed day on Friday, 4 till 6 o'clock at Chicky and Pete's to try out some cheesesteaks and food. We got happy hour of former Eagles defensive lineman Hollis Thomas. Cannot wait to see big man Hollis again and for the gang to meet him. So that's going to be loads of fun. Friday night, going to take the crew out in the town and paint it green. Saturday in the morning, we've got a tour of Lincoln Financial Field at 10:30 a.m. in the morning till 12. Cannot wait for that. And then there's another game. The guys are going to the Flyers. Guys are going to the Flyers for another game on Saturday morning. And then there is a surprise guest, which I cannot announce just yet, between 4 and 6 that the crew are going to meet. Followed by, in the evening, 7 till 10, we're going to be at the 76ers game in another suite, which is going to be incredible with some ex-players and Philly celebrities and media. On Sunday, we got a VIP tailgate with Philly Sports Trips, which this whole trip is being run through. Shout out to Philly Sports Trips. We're also going to be hitting up the 4th and John tailgates as well. And then we've got the Eagles versus Jags game and the lower level tickets that we cannot wait for until we dance the night away. We've got a Citizens Bank Stadium tour on Monday. And I know there is a load of other things that are going to be in the works with TV stations and other surprise guests that we haven't announced yet over that time. So if you are considering going on a Eagles trip next year, come with us here at British and Irish Eagles and Philly Sports Trips. We already have, I think, 40 people signed up as registered interest for 2025. It's going to be a big one. So drop us a line if that's something you want to do. All right, let's get into some of these questions from the guys. First off, Amy, thank you for this question. I'm not going to read out in detail, but to paraphrase, are you concerned about the scoring efficiency of the Eagles, specifically the red zone inefficiencies? Is it scoring that's the problem? Is it play calling? Could it affect our ability to get into the playoffs or affect us in the playoffs? Amy, it's a great question. And I have to say, I was scratching my head a little bit when you said that because I wasn't aware the Eagles were that bad in red zone efficiency. But after doing some research, before the bye, the Eagles were 19th in the league in red zone efficiency. So it's not terrible, but it's certainly in the bottom tier, right? You're just nearly into the bottom tier. You're in the lower half, definitely. But Amy, I got some good news for you. Since the bye week, the Eagles are 11th in red zone efficiency. They're nearly top 10 in red zone efficiency. And I've seen a lot of hope. I've seen a lot of change in the last few weeks in the style of play calling that we're seeing. And to be honest with you, Amy, I think the reason is new offensive coordinator. Jalen Hurts is working with his 8th offensive coordinator in like 10 years or something stupid like that. New offensive coordinator. There's obviously a bit of issue there with Sirianni and play calling. They're still figuring it out. Hurts is still getting used to it. Kellen Moore is still getting used to it. And over the last 3 weeks, they've started to connect more. The offensive play calling has been better. Jalen Hurts has looked better all around as a combination. Sirianni's been better. So I think for now, let's put a cork in that one, Amy. If it raises its head again in a few weeks' time, then I'll revisit it. But I'm pretty confident we're going in the right direction. Thank you for that question. Okay. Dream or realistic trade deadline? Now, for those of you who listen to the British and Irish Shields podcast, you will know that at the start, before the season started, and even at the start of the season, I was refusing to allow anyone to say we needed to trade for more people or we need to sign more people, et cetera, because I knew we were going to need the cap space and the draft cap later on in the season to fill any gaps we have. And while the defensive line and pass rush has been much better in previous weeks, overall it's still pretty suspect. By the way, the defensive line for the Eagles leads the league in sacks over the last 3 weeks. And since the bye, we lead the league in nearly every defensive category. So shout out to Vic Fangio again. So the question here from Jonathan is dream or realistic trade deadline? And for me, it's got to be a pass rush candidate because I still think the Eagles need more juice there. If they're realistic about winning a Super Bowl this year and a deep playoff run, as much as we've seen improvements from Nolan Smith and Josh Sweat, as much as we've seen Jalen Carter play well, as much as we've seen, some of the DTs, Milton Williams and Davis play well stopping the run, Huff isn't giving me enough at the moment. Graham is just too old now to be the guy you go to for a deep playoff run. We need another defensive end. So dream trade deadline is pretty obvious. For me, it's Max Crosby. I think he's an absolute game wrecker. I think he's one of the best, if not the best defensive end in the league. Obviously, shout outs there to Nick Bosa, as well as TJ Watt and Miles Garrett. Nearly forgot his name there as well. But he's up there. Max Crosby is up there in that bracket. Trey Hendrickson as well for the Bengals, who didn't do much this week. He's up there in that bracket. So my dream trade deadline is Max Crosby. I think if we get him, then we are like firmly in the top 3-4 contenders for the Super Bowl. However, I don't think that's very realistic. The Raiders have come out to say as much that he's not up for trade this year and he's not up for trade next year. So I'm going to give you a couple of names that I've been looking at here. Jadeveon Clowney for the Panthers. It's been touted, but I'm just going to bat that down straight away. I don't want him at the organization, apart from anything else. So I'm not going to have him in there. Titans defensive end Arden Key is an outside possibility. So there are a couple of names to throw out there. Zadarius Smith is a name that's been floated around by many of our media outlets in the last few weeks. He's 32 years old. He's only got 1 year left on his deal. Becomes a free agent in 2026. But the fact that he's getting up there in age and is on a team headed for a massive change means, he's not lasting until the end of that deal. So I think Zadarius Smith is someone who the Eagles could go and get. Ojulari for the Giants, I think is realistic if we didn't already go and sign Saquon Barkley. I feel like if the Giants traded us another talent that helped us at all, then they would probably lose half their fan base. And maybe that's not realistic, but Ojulari is on the block for the Giants, and he's been playing really well in recent weeks. Emmanuel Ogba is one of the players who we've heard his name reported on the trade block. While his playing time has increased after Jalen Phillips suffered another season-ending injury, I wouldn't be surprised to see the Dolphins try and get something back for Ogba as their season is in free fall at the moment. So maybe that's one to look out for. One interesting one for me is Chase Young. The Saints got off to a hot start, but they've fallen back since. Young is an attractive trade piece just because of where he was picked. He's had flashes when he went to the 49ers, and he's had flashes when he's been at the Saints. He's also had some pretty embarrassing tape on there as well. If the Eagles love going for previous first round talent and seeing if they can turn them around. It hasn't worked out that well in recent history, but that could be someone you could see the Eagles go for as well. So there's a few there. Zadarius Smith, Chase Young, I think are probably the most realistic. Ojulari, Ogba, Arden Key, and Jadeveon Clowney potentially as well. Hope that answers your question, Jonathan. Question here from Mick. Are you confident on how his trade deadline move, which is ironic considering the question I've just answered? Yeah, Mick, I am, and I did see the list that you sent through of some of the misses over the last few years. With Bayard and Quinn, I think particularly they were big busts for the Eagles. Um, but Ajayi in 2017 was a hit. I know Sue wasn't a trade deadline move, but we picked him up like, around the 5 to 8 week mark, and he was a good acquisition. We spent a bit of cap on him as well. And if you look at those two in particular, 2017 and 2022, that's when the Eagles went and, actually made a good fist of the Super Bowl run. I don't think the Eagles were ever really in the Super Bowl hunt last year, even though we were 10-1, it didn't feel like we were 10-1. So when the Eagles have needed to go for it and when they've made the Super Bowl, Howie's hit on it. So for that reason, Mick, I'm going to say I'm confident this year Howie hits on it and the Eagles go for a Super Bowl run. Hope that answers your question, buddy. Is it time? So this is from Brett. Is it time to take the Shagger name of CJ Gardner Johnson? Brett, I think so. As I said earlier on, in previous Shagger, I am anointing, which I'm not allowed to do. I'm anointing Sexbon the Shagger title. It's perfect for the Sexbon name. It's perfect because he was an underdog coming into camp. He wasn't expected to ball out, and he's balling out. So Sexbon for me is a 2024-25 Shagger for the Birds. Question from Sam Oakley. After that win, are the Birds Super Bowl contenders, playoff teams? Still not sure. I know I've talked about the Super Bowl a lot on this podcast so far, but I think to say the Eagles are Super Bowl contenders is probably a little bit early. And I can imagine there's quite a few shocked people listening to me say that, given how positive I am in the Birds. This is the first game where I think the Birds have really blown out anyone and blown out a good team. I need to see them do it again a couple of times. I need to see them do it to Washington. I need to see them do it to Dallas. While Dallas is thinking at the moment they're going to turn up for that game, and that is not going to be an easy game against Dallas. We always lose at least one game against them every year. Washington are an incredible team so far this year. We got to play the Steelers. We got some tough games coming up. People say we got some easy games. I'm not so sure on that. I think that the remaining fixtures are 50-50 good and 50-50 bad. There's some games we should win, like this weekend against the Jacksonville Jaguars. There's others I'm not so sure on. So at the moment, to answer your question, Sam, I feel like we're a playoff team. I think the Eagles are going to win between 11 and 13 games this year. 13 if they click between now and the end of the season, and 11 if they have a couple of stumbling blocks. So they're going to make the playoffs. I think they've got a chance to get into the Super Bowl, and I wouldn't have said that a week ago. Um, but I need to see a couple more games before I really consider them Super Bowl contenders. They're probably a top 6, top 17 for me at the moment, but I wouldn't say they're a top 1, 2, or 3 team right now. I need to see more from them. Sam, rate the Dotson trade compared to the wide receivers trades from Ross. Ross, hard for me to rate something that's so bad comparably to all the others, which are so good. I haven't got the facts and figures in front of me, but I do know that the likes of Hopkins, the likes of Adams, have recently gone for comparable trade value to Dotson. So it stinks. There's no other way to say it unless we see Dotson really improve towards between now and the end of the year. It stinks. The only thing I would say, and I picked this up in a chat the other week, you might need to rate this trade after like 4 years or 3 years, right? If we give Dotson another contract, then I think the Dotson trade is probably better than the rest of the trades because he's young, right? He's young. So we traded for the youth, right? The other guys are in their late 20s. Most of them are in their early 30s. Hopkins and Adams, I think, are 32, 31, 32. So you're only getting this season out of them, right? You can make the argument that maybe that's what the Eagles needed this season. I would argue different. When you've got AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, you don't want another big diva in the mix there. He's demanding targets and catches. We have AJ, we have Devontae, that's fine. Dotson is fine for a wide receiver 3. We've seen a little bit of improvement over the last 3 weeks. Hopefully that gets better. But it does stink at the moment. It doesn't look like value. So I need to see a lot more from Dotson. If we give him a second contract, then it's a great trade. But at the moment, it doesn't look likely. Ross, I hope that answers your question, my friend. All right. Good stuff. I got one more question here from Ross. Contract extension season. Who are you extending? So some candidates here: Josh Sweat, Milton Williams, Fred Johnson, Maddox, Isaiah Rogers, Brandon Mann, Ben BVS, Ben Verzumer, and Bond BG55. I don't think BG comes back for another year. I know he's talked about it, but so I'm going to put that one on ice just there. I think Sexbon has to be signed for a contract extension. BVS need to see more. Haven't seen enough yet. Okay, he might be a good fullback. He can fill in at linebacker. He's good on special teams. Great. I don't think I'm pulling out the checkbook yet or getting the signing paper out for BVS yet. Need to see a lot more first. Isaiah Rogers, likewise, great play. Need to see more. It's not enough for me to get out a contract extension at this stage. Maddox can go and be booted into the moon, in my opinion. He's done. Sorry, Avante, liked you in previous seasons, but you're not the player you used to be. Fred Johnson, not yet. I mean, he's had a very terrible game and a couple of good games. He's obviously much better placed at left tackle than right tackle. Again, I feel like I need to see more. Tackles normally guarantee quite a lot of money, so I'm not sure I've seen enough to guarantee a tackle salary, especially a backup tackle salary. Milton Williams has been good. I would lock down Milton Williams for the future. I think that consistency there alongside Davis and Carter is going to be important. Josh Sweat, I need to see more at the moment. I'm not extending that contract. So give me Sex Bond as the contract extension there, and Milton Williams as the two locks for contract extensions. And then let me see about Sweat, Fred Johnson, Rogers, and BVS. Hope that answers your question, Ross. All right, Bird Gang. It's been fun talking to you all for the last 31 minutes. Hope you've enjoyed the podcast. I'm going to go downstairs and get myself a cold beer and welcome some of our British and Irish Eagles travelers to the hotel before we fly tomorrow. I hope you enjoy the game this coming Sunday. If me and Phil get a chance to do a preview of the Jags game, then we will. But to be honest, it's probably just going to be some videos and some pictures we'll throw around on social media. If you're listening in and you're in Philadelphia, come and holler at us. Drop us a DM, drop us a message. We'd love to meet up with you this weekend. Other than that, yeah, go Birds and let's get that W, baby. Flag fly.